Hey everyone, and welcome back to our Mindset Monday. We're going to be continuing the talk of creativity today, and in this case, figuring out a very important question as to why it's so difficult being creative in today's world. So what kind of social issues do we have? Well, let's review real quick what we found out from last time. First off, we know that everyone can be creative. All it takes is practicing that same creativity. We learned that everyone is inherently creative at a young age. Remember, we talked about the toddlers who scored really, really high genius level at divergent thinking. And we found that from the tests that they did, that our levels of creativity tend to go down the older we get and the more educated we get. What we're going to be looking at today is the question of why. Why is it that our creativity goes down the older we get? Why is it that goes down the more educated we get? Why are these systems so bad at fostering our creativity? Well, we're going to look at two issues in general and kind of what they combine to create. The first thing is social pressures. That's a big one, especially at our age level right now in middle school. We'll talk about why that plays such an important role. The other thing is school itself. School really isn't conducive to creativity. And so it's kind of up to you guys yourselves individually to foster that creativity. School does it in a lot of ways here or there, but it doesn't really promote things actively to help foster that creativity. At least some areas of school don't. And because of both of those things combined and so long, however long that they play an issue, we tend to think that creativity is reserved for the elite, is reserved for like the best artists, the best musicians, all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about social issues first off. So they did a lot of really interesting psychological examinations on peer pressure, and when peer pressure is at its most effective. And they actually kind of applied this to creativity as well, among many other things. They said, particularly, let's talk about preferences. If you really like something, let's say you like washing your car, regardless of the weather, like homeboy over here in his overalls. Let's say you enjoy doing something like that. Well, when you're a little kid, if you're 4 or 5, if that's your favorite thing to do, it doesn't matter what your friends tend to think. If they don't like it, they're not your friends anymore. That's all it is. But you continue doing these things. You continue enjoying what you enjoy. And so you're not really swayed by all of these social pressures. When you're an adult, it's kind of the same way. You're going to do what you want to do because you're an adult. You have the freedom, the autonomy to do that. And so it doesn't really matter what other people think to a degree. I mean, there are certain things. I guess if you're an adult and you're washing your car out here in the middle of a hurricane or something, yeah, you're probably not getting invited to your neighbor's house party or anything like that anytime soon. Maybe to wash their car, that's about it. But when you're a teenager, particularly middle school age, you'll actually be swayed against doing things that you like based on what other people like. They found this to be actually a pretty heavy phenomenon, that when you are in middle school, when you're in that age, that there's a little switch in your brain that says, this is what I like, but if other people don't like this, I'm going to stop liking this. It helps you to conform to those social norms. We do this in the way we dress. We do this in the type of music that we like. We do this in the type of TV shows that we watch. And we'll actually do something a lot of times, even if we don't like it, just to kind of fit into these social norms. It's not that I'm not saying that makes you a bad person or any less of an individual, but what it does is it helps you to kind of find yourself in society and find yourself in these roles that are necessary to society. Think about it. If we didn't have this switch in our brain, when we were teenagers thousands of years ago, just learning how to be farmers or learning how to carry on the family business or something like that, in medieval times, we wouldn't do this. Those social issues wouldn't allow us to pick up these mantles and to help society in the way that we need to. And so that's kind of why we've developed these. It's a safety net to help society kind of progress and move forward. But it's not good for creativity. If you have an idea that you think is a really good idea, but other people don't like the idea, or you think that other people aren't going to like the idea, then you'll actually be persuaded not to share that idea, and therefore not to foster that creativity again. And the less you foster it, the less you practice creativity, the worse you get at using it and developing it. So that's actually a really important issue here. This progresses all throughout middle school, all throughout high school, sometimes even into college. And so we're talking about a big chunk of time here in your life where you are persuaded not to be creative and not to take risks because of what other people think. The other thing is school. There are certain things that make it good for creativity, and then other things that make it really bad for creativity. For example, to be successful at school, what do you have to be good at? It's not being creative. It's not being a good musician, not being a good artist, maybe being a good writer, but what kind of things are you writing? Not short, creative stories. Normally essays, normally reports. They want you to write. They want you to write persuasive essays on a given topic that you research. All of these things are what make you a good, quote unquote, academic student. Unlike this guy right here, which this is very creative, by the way. But it's not there to help you be creative. It's not there to help you foster things that are going to be valuable creative skills in a market that may value art, or a market that may value ideas, that may value literature or something like that. What do we promote in school? What do you have to be good at to pass and to move on to the next grade? Math, science, social studies, ELA. What do all of those subjects have in common? They have usually one right answer. Not a plethora of creative approaches or creative answers, but one specific answer. If you find it in the other way, if you don't show your work in the right way, using the right steps, you get the answer wrong. If you find this answer any other creative way, you may discover a new branch of math we haven't even thought of. But, we don't normally value that. You find this the way that the teacher tells you, and if you don't find it that way, you do it wrong. That's a big issue, in music and drama and art and any of these ways. If you find it creatively, you are the man. We give you a medal and an A+, and so, but we're not the subjects that you have to pass to graduate to the next level. That's why we're considered connections or enrichment classes. It's for that reason. I'm not saying that school is bad. School is a great thing. I'm serving the next 30 plus years being in school because I love it so much. But it's not the best place for creativity. You have to find this creativity on your own and foster it on your own. So, if you don't, then you're not considered the elite. You're not considered one of those great writers. You're not considered one of those great musicians or great artists or whatever. And we spend 13 plus years of our lives in school being shown, through social pressures and by, find the right answer just this one way. Those systems knock us out of our creative thinking for so long that by the time we're adults, we lose it. It's no wonder adults score in the low 10 percentile on those genius tests most of the time. It's because we kill our creativity for so long. So your challenge for this week is to be creative, is to come up with creative solutions. And don't be afraid of those social pressures. Don't be afraid of finding the answers to things in new ways. I guarantee you that's what's going to make you the most creative. So here's what I'd like you to do to finish this out. Hello, Spotify installer. I'd like you to go back to your It's Learning page, and I'd like you to go here to the third part, which is the answer garden. Once you click on that, it's going to ask you what your creative solution was to our social problem, to the trash island that's forming in the Caribbean. And share your ideas. It's anonymous. Don't worry about what you post. Just post something that's school appropriate, please. And see if you can post a really, really creative idea. You'll be surprised how many other people have similar ideas. The similar ideas that you see are the ones that are actually going to be bigger and bolder in the answer garden. But let's see how many interesting solutions we can come up with. After that, each class has their own assignment. Drama, you guys are working on your projects again. And chorus, you guys are running through your music in small groups. I'm talking groups of no more than 6 people. Try and get people from different voice parts so you can put those together and start practicing with these sopranos, soprano 1, soprano 2s, altos, and see how that goes. And I'll be with you guys to work with you on Tuesday. All right, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon.